I think my brain is mush at this point because sometimes when I hear our opening, I think it's like going fast forward, you know? Do you ever hear it like it's going faster than it usually does?
No, you should get that checked out.
I'm tired. I'm tired. This is a rough week.
I understand. I think I've seen 9 movies this week with my day job, and I've written at least 5 reviews. So it's been fun. Yeah. It's been fun.
I thought it was a good idea to do 4 episodes of Collider Ladies Night with COVID. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that was I worked through it too on my business end and writing end, and everything took a lot longer. The words did not come to me as quickly.
The words did not come to me as quickly, whether I was typing them or speaking them or trying to come up with them in my head. But I will say that keeping busy nonstop, I think, helped the week go by a little faster, because otherwise I would have been incredibly lonely and I don't know, just felt like a big piece of nothing who literally has not left this apartment in I think it's 8 full days. I have not stepped foot out of my apartment.
That's good. That's what you should be doing.
I know. I know.
You were doing the correct thing. As crazy as it is. I mean, I didn't leave the apartment for 14 days at least. And then to leave was just like masked up, going to the gym and like seeing if I could do that. And I told you, like, don't rush back into doing that stuff either, because I was in pain doing the gym and I did it too early.
I still feel back. A little. I probably sound a lot and look a lot better than I did last Friday, but I don't know how soon I'm going to be going for a run.
Like, that's the stuff I really had to ease back into. Just I know you, so
I know.
Don't do what I know you and I know me. So
it's so hard, man. That's all I want to do is like go for a run or something. Sour worms. What is it?
It kind of really does taste like gummy sour worms.
Where do you even find that?
This was Angel from Fangoria gave it to me on as part of my birthday gift.
That's a very appropriate birthday gift.
Yeah, it's an extra large slushy sour that tastes like sour worms.
Okay. I don't think there's anything more Matsunato than that. Do you know what's sitting there and waiting for me when I do leave this apartment?
No.
My Dilophosaurus poster.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's sitting safe and sound in our Amazon lockers, and I cannot wait to go and have it in my hands and then bring it to get framed somewhere, because I'm getting that one properly framed.
Absolutely. It is Friday the 13th. We didn't. I think we've done we've done in the past, like we've put our rankings out and stuff like that. So that's why I didn't like jump into saying we needed to do something. But like, what is your favorite? I don't know if I know your exact favorite.
So I really do enjoy a lot of the Friday the 13th movies. They're not my favorite. Hi, Rogers.
There's a vacuum outside, so he's going to be a little nervous for a second.
It's understandable. I get nervous when there are no vacuums around, because that means my apartment's not clean enough. So I have the reverse Rogers problem.
Reverse Rogers.
Reverse Rogers. I actually think the one that I watched the most is probably the 2009 remake. I watched that movie a lot. I think it's pretty good.
I struggle with putting it on the top of my list just because I like part 6 so much. But I have swapped around. Like I've been watching that one a lot. I have watched Jason X a few times, and this has gone up my list as well. I really do enjoy New York, and I know again it's like one of the bastard children of like the franchise, but I guess I'm just drawn to the goofier films, and so for me, like I think my 3 used to be 6X remake, but it's absolutely now 6 remake X. Like that is where we are right now for my top 3.
Last Friday the 13th, we watched Jason X.
We did exactly. So that's what we talked about. All this. That's right. Yeah.
I actually am a big fan of Takes Manhattan. Also, that is probably another one that's in my top tier of Friday the 13th movies that's rewatched the most often.
Yes. Yeah. it's more Jason takes a boat ride than it is Jason goes to Manhattan.
I
And like,
know.
because so much of it takes place on the boat and then they just kind of get to Manhattan. That's part of it. But like, one of my favorite kills, maybe, I don't know if it's my favorite kill, but one of my favorite is Julius's death on top of the building when he's just boxing the shit out of Jason and Jason takes that one swing and knocks his head off. Like, they go into camp in the right places in that one. I really enjoyed it.
I'm all for that kind of camp. All right, I'm scrolling back really quick because I think
there were two. There were two.
All right. Mike Joyce is coming in hot with this first one. First off, thank you for the super chat. Did you see the big Oscar news yesterday? According to The Wrap, the fan favorite and cheer moment awards were rigged by Snyder Twitter bots. How will the Oscars recover from this scandal? Love the show and have a good week. And I'm very glad you love our show. Thank you so much for your support, Mike.
You like that? We approve.
I probably should have pulled the article up that you referenced, but I happen to be looking at Vanity Fair right now, and the headline on that is Zack Snyder's fan-voted Oscar wins may have been rigged by bots. 2 reports reveal that thousands of fake votes were cast for zombie thriller Army of the Dead and for the Justice League cheer moment win. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this were the case, but bots are kind of a thing that just exist and they're used for like a variety of reasons and in a variety of ways. And yeah, the Snyder movies probably, had a significant amount of that behind them and we're focusing on them because they won. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if someone else out there created a bot for one of the other contenders. I don't really know how you do a fan favorite.
I would be surprised, Perri.
Are you kidding? No.
No one's creating malignant bots. No one's creating any of those bots.
I beg to differ. I really do believe that's something that a lot of people have the capability of doing right now. And if you're not, I'm not saying that this is a good thing because you're rigging the vote, but if you're passionate enough about something, I don't know, putting that kind of thing together in support of the thing you want to win is not completely out of the realm of possibility anymore.
Bots are not passion, though. Bots are cheating.
Of course, I'm not saying bots are not cheating. But I'm saying that bots are so prevalent now that I wouldn't be surprised if bots existed for a multitude of things that were up for these awards, in addition to the Snyder films.
I struggle to assume that other titles up for this category had bots because this is very much I'm sorry, but it's a Snyder bro thing. Like the fact that it was for Snyder's victories and it was from that fan base, like, it again just reflects what that fan base can do and how it gets toxic. And it's not all of them. I am aware of that. I know plenty of Snyder fans who are very nice, and I appreciate that. But the problem is most of them are not. And again, I'm sorry, but there weren't malignant bots. There weren't bots for those films. I do not believe that. That is a Snyder thing because that is not coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of fuck you in a way that is just not. No. And it also is hilarious to me that the Oscars didn't see this coming. Like the minute they opened it up to let this happen, they gave it to the public. They gave it to online. Yeah, no shit. This wasn't going to be a fair vote. Like this was going to always be a Snyderverse kind of takeover. And if it couldn't have been Justice League, it was going to be one of his properties.
It was no, I kind of agree. It was, I don't think it was a terrible idea through and through. I think some of the intentions were good. And again, I hold tight to what I almost like forced myself into thinking before is, I do kind of like the idea of exploring other ways to get the viewership into the Academy Awards a little bit more. Cause I do think we're going to have to start doing things like that going forward. It's just, this particular idea, there were a number of red flags involved that should have been addressed, and the whole operation of giving this award out probably should have been reshaped in order to make it more fair.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. It was just very like reading a headline and going, yeah, no shit. It was one of those like Snyder fans use bots to win. Like, yeah, no fucking shit. Of course they did.
I have a technical question right now. Is that vacuum still going off?
I can mute myself. Yeah.
I think it's impacting how loud your audio is because I keep raising my volume and then having to lower it, but it's okay. It's okay. I just wanted to make sure it's not a problem that once the vacuum goes away, we're left with. We have more super chats. Let me make sure I didn't miss one. No, I think we have 3. Did you hold up 2 fingers or 3? Okay. Ryan is here. As a fan of the first Avatar, I was on the verge of tears when I saw the teaser for Avatar: The Way of Water. When I saw it in theaters, I am absolutely excited for these next 4 movies. So, first, Ryan, thank you for your super chat and for your support, your continued support. You are always here backing us up, and it's greatly appreciated. This perfectly leads us into our title topic here. So we did get the
Do you
first.
want to hit the other 2 super chats then? Because if this is going to lead us in, the other 2 super chats are
they're
about.
about the Oscars. All right, hang tight.
Well, yeah, it's Oscars and something else.
Okay, good call. Oh, Steven's here with something that is going to make Matt very happy. Hello, Perryhausen and Donatohausen. If you could redo a horror movie, what would you choose? And would you choose Demon Wind?
No, I wouldn't, because Demon Wind cannot be replicated. There is no reason to take that terrible movie and make something good out of it, because it is what it is, and that's why it's entertaining to me. If I'm going to redo something, it is something more like, honestly, something along the lines of a Firestarter does fit that mold to me, because I would redo something. I mean, like, we'll get to the new one and why that failed. But a redo to me is something like, if I see a remake of something, I want to see a remake of something that's either incredibly old and technology can give it a great advancement, or it's like a lesser known, maybe not one of those classics. Because, like, I watched the original Firestarter going like, cool, yeah, this is in need of a remake. I would really like to see what modern technology can do with this. Again, nothing good came out of it, so we know it's a bad idea now. But, like, I'm trying to think of like a good example, but like something like Pumpkinhead, like I think that'd be a really cool redo to do it right now, because keep the practical effects, like do that costume again so freaking well and give us the good monster, but then also build around it and do like a modern update with it. So that's where my mind goes.
So I get what you're saying, because I also agree. I think Pumpkinhead is like probably one of the best classic movies that are just really ripe for remake right now. I was looking at this question more like a big swing and a miss. Like, you get a redo, you know? So like this Firestarter movie would want to make me press the redo button, but I'm trying to think of like another movie that I was really excited about with a great concept and it was just a swing and a miss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, here's one. Do Alita Battle Angel over, except make a good first movie.
Saying that.
They didn't make a good first movie, Perry. I'm sorry. They tried to think of a
Really?
franchise that was going to happen and got ahead of themselves. If they stuck that first landing, we'd be in a different story.
I feel like you always bring that up because you know it's gonna rile
But it's all right. It's a little bit because it's gonna rile you, but because it is my like greatest example there. Like, that is my greatest example recently of getting ahead of yourself and trying to think of a whole franchise before making that first movie.
I wish there was a way for me, like, can I look up my Rotten Tomatoes page but sort them by
Oh, I wish. I've looked at that. So
reviews?
that's why you got to do Letterboxd. I know it's a pain in the ass,
Yeah.
but like that's where I used it the most. You can sort by your ratings and you can sort by all that stuff. So when I need a quick thing and go like, what's a 2-star movie that I rated recently? Like, that's
Here's one that I want a little bit of a redo on. This might be pushing it though. I really liked the concept of Old, but I didn't like its execution. So I would maybe want a redo of that concept.
yeah.
What else
Yeah,
is
it's a very cool because we both saw it together and walked out and we're like, really cool concept. What?
Willy's Wonderland. I would
yeah.
I would legit want a redo of that. And I would want you to keep Nick Cage in that role and use Nick Cage better and use that whole, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's concept / ripoff a little better.
Just give Nick Cage fucking dialogue. Like, it's not that hard. Like, give him dialogue.
Oh, that one was a big bummer. All right. Hudsonizer, replace the Academy with robots altogether. Robot apocalypse can't happen. I'm sorry. Pass on that.
I mean, it's better than some of the other apocalypse we're gearing towards, so.
That's fair enough. Here's another one from Hudsonizer. Is the Metal Gear Solid movie ever coming out? Have you heard?
Yeah, they're working on that, right?
Yeah. I feel like that's one of those ones that I've heard Yeah,
Oscar,
actually, I see a report from 3 days ago. I'm looking at a comicbook.com, and the headline is Metal Gear Solid remake reportedly in the works. A remake of Metal Gear Solid is reportedly in the works. Unfortunately, the report doesn't have anything beyond this.
wait, that's
Apparently, just so you know, the intel comes from a well-known industry insider and leaker, account NGT. So
wait. So what do you mean remake? Because it's a video game adaptation that Jordan Roberts, or like he was working on
yeah,
the
I
film,
remember
and
that.
Oscar Isaac was like cast, wasn't he? He's like playing fucking Snake. So I
This is
that
the
like
way
that's got to
a
be a different
remake.
movie.
This is a
Yeah, that's so
remake of
weird.
Metal
No,
Gear
hold on.
Solid.
Hold on.
Let me go
Metal
back and see
Gear.
if there's another.
Yeah, it's got to be something different somehow.
Oh, maybe that was like a gaming related thing and I misread.
Yeah, that's got to be a gaming related thing. Oscar Isaac gave an update to IGN a month ago on the movie, so he is in. He's said to star as Solid Snake as of December. I don't think it's in production yet, but we are going to get that movie. That is happening, I presume.
Correct.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, it's happening.
That's one of
It's just
those
not.
that's one of those ones though where I won't fully believe it's going to happen until they are on set filming.
Yeah, I I don't know. I feel like that's going to happen with everyone they have in place. Like Roberts is a huge fan of the entire franchise, so like he's a huge gamer and loves Metal
Well,
Gear Solid especially. So
just so you know, this is the quote from Oscar Isaac. We're searching like Solid Snake. We're climbing through air ducts. We're looking for the story. So
I like that.
But that I think signals that this movie, like they are trying to move forward with it, but it does seem like it's a ways away from filming, and they're still very much in the development phase.
Okay, yeah, that quote would very much say that. So I still think we're going to get it. I think that's something we'll get, but again, fingers crossed. That's more hope than anything. To answer Jason very quickly, did you play the Evil Dead video game yet? I downloaded it. I did not play it yet. So updates next week when I actually get some time to play.
All right. Should we go back to Ryan now?
Yeah, we can do that, right? We're back.
All right. Yeah. Let's talk about the Avatar 2 trailer. First, before we even get into what the view count on the trailer means, what did you think of it? Did it do anything for you?
I mean, did it do anything for me? Like, yeah, I look at it and I see something that's visually stunning. I mean, if there was one thing that James Cameron did with the first Avatar, it's everything that was technical about it and creating new camera techniques and literally new technology to put that beautiful film to screen. I don't think the story was anything fantastic. And I will say, for as much as I think this movie is going to do very fine at the box office, like everyone's going to see this movie. Like I'm very on the team. Like, people are going to show up for it. I don't care that much. And that's my own personal feeling on it. I do feel like it's too little too late. It's a film that, again, I will give all the technical and visual merit to, but I don't know if I really enjoyed everything that was going on as much as other people did. And as much as I'm like, yeah, man, it looks pretty cool. Looks good. It's going to crush the box office. Like,
I don't think it's going to.
You don't think it's going to?
Before I go there, this teaser trailer did so little for me. And admittedly, I have yet to make do on my promise to rewatch Avatar because it has been a very long time since I've seen that movie. But even having walked out of the theater of seeing that movie, I wasn't as wowed by it as a lot of other people were out there. And it definitely wasn't the type of movie that I was going to go back to the theater to keep seeing, which I think heavily contributed to how high that box office gross climbed. And one of the disappointing things with this teaser for me is that, like, I really tried hard to go in open-minded. Like I want to be excited for another Avatar movie. It's a big deal. After all this time, it's a really big deal that James Cameron is finally bringing the next chapter of this story that he's deeply passionate about to screen. Yeah. There was nothing in this trailer that made me give a shit about that, though. And I think I blame the structure of I blame the structure, and I also blame the way that I saw it. Like Ryan mentioned that he was wowed by it, having seen it on the big screen in the theater. I just watched it at home on my computer, and I mean, it wasn't that cool looking. I don't think I was able to see on my computer how James Cameron took the visuals from here to here in all this time. And also, that trailer almost plays like a VFX reel and not like a teaser to tease the next chapter of a story. And I think had a more rousing feel in terms of what we're going to get through the story, then I would have been a little more open-minded to get excited about those visuals. But when I didn't get either thing, it's left me in a place where like I'm just increasingly convinced that December will roll around and I won't care. And I think a lot of other people out there aren't going to care anymore.
Yeah, I was watching it in the same way you did. I was watching it going like, okay, cool. The VFX are what is primarily again going to be what's in focus here. We're doing underwater stuff now versus in the skies and flying around. Like this is Cameron getting to play in a world that he loves. I mean, James Cameron is the same guy that goes, exploring the Titanic in his personal submarine and shit like that. Like James Cameron is going to feel at home in the water, but at the same time, yeah, it was a VFX reel. And also I was having these thoughts of watching these returning characters and seeing everyone come back, and none of it meant anything to me. Like that, like literally, I'm looking at it going like,
who everyone
I don't
was.
fucking know. Yeah, it's been so long that I don't know what the fuck is going on, and I'm literally like, oh right, there was some war between obviously the Avatar, the Na'vi, and the fucking humans, and the Matrix jacking in and shit and taking over the like sure, I'm sure I could rewatch it, but again, the problem is it's been so long that I'm watching this trailer and trying to get engaged again. And there's just not much to get engaged to besides cool. We're in the water. We're splashing around with those VFX. And I'm sure James Cameron's going to do some beautiful stuff with like water filmmaking. I'm sure he invented some insane new camera to go like fucking submarining underwater. But all right, outside of that, I
Yeah. What was it? 147 million people watched that trailer in the first day.
a lot, yes.
So it was something like that. I'll get that number right in a second. But I think a lot of those views, 148.6 million views in one day. Yeah. My thinking is that a lot of those views are coming from talk and curiosity around that narrative of, oh, it's taken so long for this second movie to come out. I'm just curious to see a little bit of it. But when we're in a day and age where it seems like only select movies really do make a lot of money at the box office, and most of them are the Marvel movies and the DC movies of the world, I don't know how much room there is left for Avatar. And I don't know. I feel like this is going to make some people mad. I've always found something like a little unappealing about the look of it. And I just wouldn't be surprised if with where VFX and creature design and character design have gone over the past over all this time between a 2009 release and freaking 2022, I just have to imagine it won't be as appealing as it was in 2009 when so much of it was revolutionary, Yeah.
Yeah. So I did want to highlight, as I just had a comment a few minutes ago. The problem with Avatar Way of Water is that 3D is not as popular, no groundbreaking as it is now. And I do think that's a huge thing because Avatar came out at the height of every movie trying to post like production their 3D in, and it all looks so terrible. And then you get a movie like Avatar that actually was 3D from the start. James Cameron, like again, invented technology to make a stunning film on screen. So that is very much what the talk was. Like 3D was such a huge thing, and we see Avatar and we're like, holy shit, like this does look revolutionary. And all that talk has gone away. Like that is no longer a thing that we go to the movies for again. Like the Clash of the Titans and all that stuff really kind of killed the 3D talk. And so everything post that, like it's all gone away. So I don't know. I kind of agree with that comment. I think again, it is too late in a way where it missed a trend and a fad. So yeah, I do think and somebody else did say that the YouTube compression like isn't showing everything.
Yeah,
like
course.
It does look much better. So like that is something to think about. Like I would love to see the trailer on the big screen, but personal preference in what I'm going into, Avatar was absolutely gorgeous. Didn't do much else for me. I'll never, own it on Blu-ray or anything because I don't think it warrants that for me. But I do have a little more faith, I think, than you. in an audience showing up for this kind of movie, because it's still a Cameron film. It's still something like, it's not Moonfall. Like Moonfall in another world, I think would have done a lot better. Moonfall now, I agree. There's no room for a movie like that, and it's going to make its 1.5 million in a whole weekend. I don't think we're looking at anything like that. I do think we're looking at something pretty profitable.
No, I don't want it to come across like I think this movie is making like $5 million.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be the case. And like, I'm well aware that Avatar's massive box office also came from its longevity and not a really powerful opening weekend. And that alone, I just don't see the enthusiasm opening weekend being as strong. And I think the main thing actually that will, tip the scale for me is if the movie is actually good, if the story is good. If I really do think that in this particular case, I know sometimes reviews don't dictate box office and all of that, but I think in this particular case, a lot of people out there might be wondering, like, is it worth going back to see this movie so many years later? And I think the early buzz is gonna really make a big difference on this one. If the reaction is like, well, God, it's like more of the same, but X amount of years later, I think that's going to hurt. And I think it's going to, for the amount of money that movie cost, be a really rough opening. But if the reviews are incredibly positive, kind of like they are for Top Gun right now, I think those like wildly positive reviews for Top Gun Maverick are going to boost its box office significantly. I think if that happens for Avatar 2, it could see bigger box office numbers as well.
Yeah, I no argument there. Yeah, and I am really curious to see what Top Gun does with everything it's doing, and know, all the reception it's been getting, and we'll get there, I'm sure.
I'm looking forward to hering your thoughts. I need to experience it vicariously through you until I'm allowed to go.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I hugged JC. I got to see JC, and we hugged.
As though I couldn't be more jealous. Jeez.
She said in 2 weeks she's ready to go drinking with us. She just has to get through Top Gun cans. And we're good.
I'll be fully healed by then. Spencer is here with a super chat. Thank you so much. Hey, Perri and Matt, longtime watcher, first time sending a super chat. Firestarter was incredibly disappointing.
We can start here.
Yeah, but I'm sorry you felt that way about Firestarter. I did too. Matt, why don't you go first on this one, because everyone has seen my review.
Yeah, agreed with you. I saw a snippet of your review that I could watch because it was like, let me watch a little bit. And I'm like, wait, I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm like, fuck. All right. But no, I agree. It's super underwhelming. And the big thing for me is, I'll go again and echo that I watched the first one right beforehand. And so it's an adaptation of a Stephen King novel. It's a little more out there. Just the story itself is telling like a weird superhero origin story, but there's also like governmental conspiracies. And I like the first film because it picks up and it's immediately a chase. It's Andy McGee and Charlie McGee like teamed up together. We already have the, all right, I won't say that part of it, but like they are already together and they're already running away from a conspiracy agency, the shop, and it's an immediate chase. And it really plays into the fact that like we're just gonna have fun with it, I guess is the way to say it. And this is a movie that you needed to have a little fun with. And where the 80s version goes, it's kind of primed for like an 80s movie where the effects get a little goofy, but it's still practical. So you have Drew Barrymore like throwing fireballs and like it just looks kind of crazy. And none of that makes it into this redo. Like this is the Blumhouse tear down, really kind of like lower budget remake of a film that's already not that great. So when you talk about, how do we give it a new spin? What do we do with it? And this remake honestly did nothing in a new spin. It did nothing to make it like set itself apart. It just looks like every other generic horror movie that's getting churned out these days. And it's soulless. You said it's lifeless. I'll say it's soulless. So I say something a little different. Like there's nothing inspiring behind this remake. And it comes down to effects. It comes down to performances, every part of it. And like, the one thing, and I'll let you go in a second, but like the one thing I'll use is the movie, the 80s version. Like there's something to the chase. Like the shop is the agency chasing them. There are a bunch of henchmen like in the shop and agents who keep turning up. And like, there's always these big confrontations where in the remake, which is again a Blumhouse product, so we're working on a much lower budget. There's one single assassin hired to chase them, and the thrill is kind of gone for me. Like all those moments in the original that kind of built up to be something a little more exciting. Oh, that's missing in this. This is just the like bargain bin version of Firestarter, which no one asked for.
I mean, I kind of asked for it. Like I really did think that there was great promise in a new version of this, but like it's I don't necessarily, not that I'm not open to change, but I don't necessarily think they needed to like revolutionize the story or do anything different. Really, the heart of that story is the connection between Andy and Charlie. All you need is two actors with great chemistry who are able to build a foundation together. And then, when you fall in love with them and their relationship and how he keeps her safe, then you turn that on its head by having them threatened. And then all of a sudden you care and you're invested. This movie doesn't really do any of that. And also the threat here isn't very threatening. The example I brought up in my review, and considering you just watched the 84 movie, the scene at the farmhouse where they're approached by the shop agents? There's so many of them and it's scary. And how are they going to get out of there? It's like 5 people in this movie.
And again, like everything is so much more pared down because that's the Blumhouse way. Throw $5 million in a movie and like that's all you got and you got to make do. And I also think there's a lot, a few people kind of brought this up on Twitter that I saw, so it's not my own thought here, but I do agree with the sentiment that this movie feels chopped to hell. Like there are so many plot beats that feel incomplete and there's a lot missing. Mm-hmm. And I really do think that there, to bring up like Kurtwood Smith does a great job playing a character who is like not meant for this stern movie. Kurtwood is obviously playing this like crazy doctor and you meet him for one scene and he fits in the 80s version. So you're almost like, what are you doing in this movie? But then his character is just gone from the rest of the movie. And it really feels like they do a lot of this teeing up. And there are these moments where towards the end of the film, just a random kind of agent takes his helmet off and reveals his face like it's supposed to mean something to us, but he's never been introduced in the entire film. So these moments just like stand out to me where it really feels like they might have cut this down a bunch, realized what they had, and were kind of just like, well, let's just kind of squeak out a movie here that's kind of short and sweet and hope no one notices these weird like continuity things.
That's like very disappointing if that winds up being the case.
It felt like it could be.
I think they needed a longer running time. I think they, again, needed time at the beginning to like establish some sort of foundation and let you live in this world a little before they go on the chase. In this particular case, I think that might have helped. But any kind of story restructuring or additions, I don't think would have fixed the fact that I don't think that this is Zac Efron's best work.
No, it's like it's kind of really uninspired.
He didn't seem like he was, there.
Well, and that goes down to, again, I think the tone they were trying to set with this film, because it felt to me like they were really trying to distance themselves from the 80s version. And the 80s version is, again, it fits in the period so much. It's a lot of overacting. It's a lot of David Keith, like when he does his telepathy, he's just like, oh, like he's getting really into it, like doing these insane gestures. And I do believe that the direction on set was to not do any of that. So you just get these really, like, to me, it's dull and lifeless. Again, I'll use that word. It's just those like interpretations of there's something fantastical happening on screen, but everyone is just acting like there's nothing important happening and like they don't want to be there.
The other issue with them going so far away from that 80s style and chasing the new thing is that it does feel like they're desperately trying to keep up with like the cool kids now who have made movies about children with powers that are struggling with the ability to control them and are teetering towards the dark side. And other movies have done it a lot better. So it's just like it's a really warped reality that we have this Firestarter movie where this story has existed for a whole lot longer, but this movie feels stale and old compared to the Brightburns and the Freaks of the world.
And also, this week alone, there's a movie coming out called The Innocence. It's on IFC Midnight, and it's a VOD rental. It is a fantastic Norwegian movie about kids on a playground who discover they have powers, and their parents are never around. So it's like, it's doing this tremendous story about like literal toddlers, like maybe just older than toddler age, like figuring out that they can levitate rocks and figuring out that they can like send people to these subconscious realms where it's just their fears. And they're also children. And it's a fantastic version of, it gets dark, it gets violent, it gets like heavy in a lot of points, but it's one of those films that goes there where I agree with you, like where Firestarter doesn't really know what to do with that drama either, and it doesn't have drama, and that goes down to performances. Like I never believed the connection between Efron and the child actress who I'm blanking on. I didn't believe anything was going on. Yes, Kira Armstrong, and it was so disappointing because I don't know. I feel like in comparison to Top Gun, which we'll talk about later, Top Gun realized why people like the original one, and it stayed with that 80s aesthetic, and it stayed with that kind of, we're just going to lean heavily into the fact that we're kind of half cheesy, half having fun here. And like, that's what makes it a good movie, where Firestarter tries so hard to be its own thing and to like really put, like, it literally scorches the old fucking film and says like, you're in the past, you're not the new film. But in doing so, it just loses track of everything that kind of makes the first one charming and fun. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I don't love it. Like, having just watched it, it's not great, but at the same time, I had way more fun watching it.
I know that it's a little rough around the edges, especially nowadays, but the nostalgia factor is strong in that one with me. And I don't know, I still think there is enough cast chemistry and like a whole lot of power and intensity coming from Drew Barrymore to get me into that every single time I push play on it.
I agree. So yeah, for me, I mean, just overall, just super disappointing. I think like the little quote I used is just kind of like, it's a remake of a film that's already pretty iffy to begin with, and it just makes all the wrong choices in trying to differentiate itself. Like that's what this comes down to.
It's my lowest review score of the year so far.
Oh, I watched a few indie horror films that have taken the 0.5 star mantle for me.
This one's a 1.5 for me. Why don't we just talk about Top Gun? Tell me about it. So because we had brought up on a previous episode where we were concerned about all the hype.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say we have 3 super chats. Do you want to hit those first and then jump into them?
Starting with Ryan's, right?
Yes, yeah. I don't want to forget them because we forgot one last week. So Sky the Boss, we apologize. We realized it.
Sky the Boss, the Boss, if you want to put in like a question or something today, we'll make sure to bring it up to pay you back for last week. Matt, keep an eye out for that, please. Ryan's here again. I think this is about Avatar. They released a summary of the movie, and it is a very complicated story to tell in a 1-minute teaser. But it's a complicated story to tell in a 1-minute teaser, but you could tease that story. Yeah.
Just like bring me back into the world. That's the thing. I just want to be brought back into the world. And the teaser very much felt like, here's all the things that you should like about this movie. And you did once upon a time. And it's like, yeah, but I forgot. I don't know. I forgot. I forgot.
Except for unobtainium. Is that what they call?
Unobtainium. Yeah.
I remember that. Annabelle is here. How you doing, Annabelle? Good being back. Been staying consistent as possible here. Happy splatter weekend to all. Summing up comments with Firestarter trash. The OG is better. Avatar is okay. Anything Scream, yes. Resident Evil hopeful. Matt is my sensei. What a great super chat.
As I should be. I am only the best guide.
Yeah, sure.
Drink sour gummy beers.
Oh God, no. King Sport Cal is here. Matt, that is a dope shirt. Why you like a girl vacuuming during the show? Stephen King is rolling in his grave. He's still alive. It's very hard to recreate the 70s, 80s vibe. It is. It's hard to recreate that authentically. And
yeah, that's the whole thing of like 80s nostalgia now, like going out of style and everyone trying to replicate that. And it is hard because the 80s were such a time and a period where filmmaking was bonkers. It was just run on cocaine and everything was insane. Like that was movies in the 80s, and it's never going to happen again. Like maybe it will in the future because history is cyclical, but I really doubt it. The 80s is like a moment in time where you can't recreate the magic that happened there in just a drug-fueled insanity haze.
So I'll say that in this year in particular, Everything Everywhere All at Once has made me believe that literally anything is possible.
It's true.
With the right team of people, with the most powerful vision, and really like a group of people who could wholeheartedly give 100% of themselves to creating that vision. I think anything is possible out there.
Yeah. A few people did bring up, and I do just want to say, Carpenter's score is good in Firestarter. I
Yeah,
think it's the one high point. Mirror Domains and a few people brought that up, but like agreed on that. The one thing that works is the score. It's just such a goddamn shame that Carpenter keeps giving these good scores to pretty underwhelming movies.
I know. His work is always so good in that department. I couldn't even appreciate it though because I was so upset by the rest of the film.
Also, a few people asked where this is from, and this is Cavity Colors. It is not available anymore because it was Cavity Colors runs once a week, and if you don't get the shirts, they're usually gone. Sometimes they'll do restock, sometimes they sit around. But I know this one's not available at the moment. They do have a new Jason line though, because of course it's Friday the 13th. So they did drop one today in honor of it, and there's a pretty cool long sleeve that I'm toying with. I might get the long sleeve.
Oh
Jason
shit,
shirt.
these are nice.
Yeah, and Cavity Colors, I like. They're the ones I swear by. Everything I get by them is super comfortable. I've had some rucking cotton issues. Like one
really?
Danhausen, yeah. Whenever they do a full print where like the entire shirt is a graphic, it just doesn't fit me well at all. It's like I'm wearing a box, and like it just doesn't form fit. So I might have to stop with the ruckings on those types of shirts.
So I guess
Just
you didn't buy any of their Midsommar collection that they just released.
No, because they're the full prints. So if I got it, it'd be the same problem.
All right, I didn't get any of those. I kept myself in check. I keep checking Studio House designs though. I think they're like one of my absolute favorites right now.
Okay, I think all right. So that is all the supers. I think.
Yes. They're really like working hard vacuuming your hallway today.
Yeah, they're really getting my hallway super bad. So it's like one of those like ride-on ones to it.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Also, so, yeah. Sky the boss says, "I am here. It's okay, and I love you." So we're good. We're good.
You are very greatly appreciated.
We appreciate that, and we are sorry because it was one of the ones that had a spoiler in it before we got to spoiler talk. So I think we were going to get back to it, and we never did.
Shit! I remember that now.
Yeah.
All right. Our apologies. You're the best. Thank you for your support. All right. You're up, Matt. Top Gun Maverick. Is it really that good? Is it going to get a Best Picture nomination?
Fuck Snyder. We know that was Jeff saying that, and fuck him. No, it's not going to get Best Picture nomination. Get the fuck out of here. He's not the
only one saying it anymore.
Oh, no? Other people have?
Oh, I've seen it out there quite a bit.
It is so early to say that. It's insane to me. It's the same conversation of Everything Everywhere.
No, that's not a wild thing to throw out there to me.
I still think it is. I think these movies are running on so much hype right now, but I mean, I guess that was March and we're in May right now, but in the same sense, no, I do not see Top Gun getting anywhere near the Oscars. Here's where I differ from some critics. Drew Taylor was like DMing me because he's a huge Christopher McQuarrie fan, and like everything Mission Impossible, Drew has his Mission Impossible podcast. So like Drew is all in on that team, and McQuarrie has a writing credit on Top Gun 2. So he was kind of giving me shit because I think this movie is a ton of fun, and I think the action sequences are amazing. Everything they do in the fighter jets is so good. So like, talk about doing a sequel 40-something years later. Yeah, Top Gun warrants it because the technological advancements alone of like filming in cockpits and being able to capture all this midair dogfighting, like it just looks so much better than the original. So yeah, that necessitates it alone, and it does a really good job with those sequences. But where I bring in the 80s again, and where I say they lean right back into the fact that like it's just cheesy romance. Maverick is just that renegade son of a gun you can't help but love. But like at the same time, it's the same story over again. It's kind of like a remakequel because it's playing the exact same structure once again. And that means it comes with like low stakes. Like the stakes are super low to me. And it's just one of those movies you can watch for fun. And that is fine. I had fun with it. I had like 7 out of 10 is not a bad rating for me. And like that is what I think this movie is. But I guess the difference with everyone else who is saying like, you know, the tweets out there saying that it's so dramatic and it's so powerful and like the storytelling is just mesmerizing. I didn't get that at all. I did not feel anything for this movie but like an adrenaline rush, which is fine. That's what it should be, and I'm happy about that. I didn't get any of the drama beats though, and I don't think it has the emotional like gravity to carry it all the way through the summer season, let alone to Oscar season.
Okay, so just for the record, a lot of what you're saying is, in my head at least, making my everything everywhere. I need to stop saying everything anywhere. Why do I keep wanting to
everything
say
everywhere? Everything anywhere.
Everything everywhere that argument, in my mind at least, even more powerful, because that is a movie that is proven to have, I mean, not just legs at the box office, but like incredibly strong staying power. And then on top of that, based on what you're saying about this story, like, yeah, it might be a fun watch and it might be a rousing experience in the theater, but the story and Everything Everywhere is man, I don't want it to sound like I'm blowing it out of proportion, but I do think this is the case based on a lot of the reactions that I heard. It's changing people's lives and it's changing the way that they think about certain things in their own day-to-day and inspiring them to reevaluate priorities and things like that. That's the type of thing that not only has staying power at the box office, but has staying power on your mind. And the combination of those two things, I really do think, is going to power it through the year straight into Oscar season.
Yeah, Everything Everywhere is going to be one of my favorite movies of the year. It's going to hold that spot. Like, I'm already confident with that. So I'll go back to what I said when we first talked about this. And Coda, for me, winning proved that like the unthinkable could happen. But Everything Everywhere actually getting a nomination will prove to me that anything literally can happen. That'll be the movie that if it gets there and gets the nomination, I'll finally believe that the Academy is changing its ways enough where every year there can be a surprise. Mm-hmm. I still don't think they are there yet. And I still think it is way too early for everything where it's not going to carry over. I think we're going to get to a point where it just leaves, because you got to think about the Academy voters. And I'm thinking about come Oscar season, are they then going to be looking at their screeners? And is that hype still going to be there for everything where they prioritize it? Because Coda had that hype going into actual Oscars voting season. I don't know if Everything Everywhere will. And that's where I think it will lose steam.
I don't know if, like, at the very start of Oscar season, Coda had that, what?
Amelia's holding up her computer, and on it is a picture of the Ted Lasso Believe sign.
Yeah, oh yeah, very appropriate. Going into the very beginning of Oscar season, though, I don't think that the Coda hype was strong enough to make me confident that it was going to get a nomination. It was as we went through the season, and I think some of the competition was a little, like a different like tone. And I think there was just this like groundswell of support for something that made you feel like Coda made you feel, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't be surprised if towards the end of the year, it's like when you envision your stack of screeners and what do you feel like watching right now? I feel like we could be in another situation where people feel like watching Everything Everywhere more so than they do the typical Oscar fare.
Right. Well, as the winning Oscar pool member of Merri Hour,
yeah.
I think that I might know.
The short films fucked me over this year. They fucked me over.
Oh my God, no, they did.
I take it back. My heart messed with my brain.
Yeah, your heart messed with.
Should have prioritized
I went against my heart, Perri. I went against my heart, and I almost lost. But no, so like I think that's the difference. The difference is I really want it to be there, and I do hope you are right. I want to say that out loud. I am just still a little bit too cynical to think that it has the time to continue the hype and to keep it going.
Just to add a little more weight to my side of the argument here, Matt, this is going to make a huge difference.
That could be true. Okay, so that could be very true.
Q&As and those events can very much give a campaign a significant boost. So like that is also on the companies on A24 to mount a strong campaign and get people like Michelle Yeoh and Jamie Lee Curtis in front of crowds, because them and the rest of the ensemble, I think, are going to have a lot of opportunity, and they have the ability to win over voters big time.
We need to talk up Everything Everywhere from here on out enough where we get invited to do a screening with them.
Manifest.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, I like that plan. Let's do it. I'm gonna keep saying it because I want to make it happen. Wait, can I complain about something really quick?
Fuck yeah, sure.
So I'm in manifesting mode. I'm gonna keep saying Everything Everywhere is gonna get a Best Picture nomination until it happens. I'm also gonna keep saying that The Wild gets a season 3. Matt, can I tell you? Do you know anything about the show? Have you watched it?
You have. I have not watched it. You have described it.
Okay, just for anyone out there who doesn't know what the show is, it is about a group of girls who go on a plane. the plane crashes and they get stranded on an island. This isn't a spoiler. It's intercut, and the story from start to finish jumps back and forth. It's revealed that the plane didn't really crash. It was made to look like it crashed. So they're on the island thinking they have to survive, but we also keep cutting to a bunker where they're being interviewed, and it's revealed that they're part of a bigger scheme, an experiment. The second phase of the experiment in season 2 is that you have the girls and then you have the boys, and the person in charge is comparing how the two groups are operating in order to survive the island in hopes of proving girls are better than boys. So a lot of people are out there completely writing off the show because they're mad that it's making all men everywhere look bad. If that is the idea, if that's the thought of what's making you mad at this show and not giving season 2 a chance, you need to rethink that, because Gretchen, the person in charge of this really misguided operation, is clearly going to be wrong in many respects. And I think they're doing a pretty beautiful job establishing the foundation they need to show how these different personalities actually can't be better than one or the other. It's only going to work if we all work together. That's just my prediction, at least. But I think they're doing a really good job exploring that. And it breaks my heart to see people writing off a show because of what its season 2 premise is without actually giving it a shot and digging into the nuance of that story.
Yeah, but that's internet bullshit. Like the thing of people, so the people complaining about exactly what you're complaining they were never going to watch the show. They are just complaining about it because of the angle of a political angle and oh my God, this is evil because it's saying all men are evil. I can't wait to review Men with you because fuck yeah.
It's not even the angle though. It's not the angle.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter to them. Like you're arguing against people who don't want to hear your argument. Like that's the thing. You can't let them bother you because literally they don't care. They're just arguing it because they're like anti-feminist.
It bothers me because like I love the show and I want to see more of it and I want good things for the cast and for the creators. And if you completely write it off without actually giving it a try, it reduces the opportunity for it to continue on, which would make me very sad.
That's true. But again, and that's the internet's superpower. It's making these things and people seem like they're important when they're not, because again, those people were never going to watch this show. They were never the demographic. They're just complaining because literally or if some of them are, and they were going to go off of it.
But what you're saying is a surprising thing to me, because I suspect, like, I don't know a lot of the people who have commented on things that I've posted, but I do suspect that it's a lot of people who did watch season 1 and are mad at what the season 2 premise is, which is a little strange to me. The only thing that I can see someone being, not so mad about that they don't watch season 2, but a little skeptical about is the idea of, by expanding the ensemble so significantly, you reduce the amount of screen time you're able to spend with the characters that you came to know and love in the first season, which it does make sense. But I think they've done a really good job to show that those characters won't be able to grow unless you factor in these other people, which is why I've really appreciated the arc they've explored thus far. It's just, I had to say that. It's like,
get it off your chest.
Yeah. I'm just
somebody asked what show, and no, I was gonna say somebody asked what show, and that is The Wilds. So if you came into that rant randomly, that was Perri ranting about The Wilds.
The Wilds on Prime Video. Seasons 1 and 2 are streaming now.
Super chat.
All right. First we got, hey Matt, did you send this to ourselves?
I did. I am paying ourselves.
Hello.
Putting money back into my pocket.
Do you guys think there is some truth to the criticism from people like Scorsese that Marvel and other franchise movies are making it harder for other types of movies to get noticed?
I will start here because I'm fine doing that. And I will say yes and no. I think there is validity to the complaint that superhero films and tentpoles are indeed taking, like, we talked about it before, like the market for a theatrical film now is so much smaller. And I mean, somebody texted me that they had tickets for Fantastic Beasts, and it was this past weekend, and their theater canceled all the Fantastic Beast screenings for more Doctor Strange. So like, yeah, there is validity to the fact that it's a lot harder for other movies outside those tentpoles and superheroes to get noticed in theaters. But I also don't think that's that's not something you can blame on those movies themselves, because it's on the audiences, it's on the pandemic conditions, it's on so many other things that have changed the way that theatrical movies kind of operate at this point. So like, and streaming too, like all of these different factors are out there that are keeping people away from certain movies that they don't want to spend theatrical bucks on, versus the people who are making those movies and they need an easy scapegoat. And I'm not saying like Martin Scorsese is a dumbass for what he's saying. Like, I adore Scorsese and I agree with him a lot of the times, but like, I don't think those complaints themselves are directly directed at the movies that, like, you know, the Doctor Stranges of the world anyway. I think it's just general frustration of people in an industry that are realizing more and more that, like, yeah, things are changing and things have to change in a way. So do I think there's validity to the fact that these movies are taking over theaters? Yes, 100%. That is what's happening. That's what we're seeing. Do I also think it's their fault? No, because there's too many other factors and we're letting that happen. Like, we're the audience. We can change that, but we're not going to.
Yeah, that was very well said. I pretty much agree with everything you just laid out there. The only thing that I'll add is that, you know, I know it's bummed to see certain movies get bumped for this massive Marvel tentpole that has all the opportunity in the world, but, you know, the theatrical viewing experience is like a bit of an all boats rise kind of scenario. And I feel like right now, like, the theater industry is struggling to get people back in and to, you know, keep those box office numbers on the rise right now. And, you know, if you don't have all that money from the big tent poles, then we run the risk of seeing maybe theaters shut down, and then there's no opportunity to screen on the big screen for anybody. So yeah, a lot of factors, and that's one of them.
Boom. Like, theaters have to stay alive. It's a business. We have to remember that. As much as we want to romanticize the creativity and everything that we do, we should. Like, creativity should thrive and survive. But the theatrical model is changing. And yes, like, superheroes are how these theaters make money. So of course they're going to make the most money that they can. Because again, a Moonfall or a Michael Bay movie, or things that used to be kind of like shoo-ins for at least some theatrical box office bucks, they're dying off. So like, I don't know.
I just want everything to have screens and make a lot of money.
Everything everywhere.
Yeah, really. Caleb's here. The Bucks are playing the Cowboys week 1 to start off the season with a W.
That is so, that's such a thought there, Caleb. I'm glad that you are that confident.
He's always confident in the Cowboys.
Yeah, and where's that got him? Injured quarterbacks, shitty running backs. I'm a Texans fan, so it doesn't fucking matter. Like, I mean, I'm making fun of myself. Don't worry about that. But I don't know. With everything the Bucks are doing and everything that they're putting together in bringing Brady back and what they're building around him, I think they will be a force yet again.
I think they're going to be a force too. But I like that.
And the Cowboys, yes, the Cowboys have every chance to, but the Cowboys keep proving that they like to take those chances and make us all, you know, regret rooting for them.
Who do you think is going to be the best fantasy value of the new season?
Oh, good God, fantasy value. I don't know yet. That I would have to see training camps and shit for. It's way too early.
Okay. I'm already
There's like too many. Tips. Yeah.
Give me tips. I'd like
too many things are moving around. Too many like quarterback decisions that still have to be made. Wide receivers getting themselves set, and like running backs figuring out competition. So it's a little early for that, but I'm ready for fantasy. Don't worry.
I'm excited. All right, Annibal's back. Love me some passionate Perri. That was all. Yeah, that rant made me a little schmitzy right now. What else did we have to talk about?
Would you like to talk about Scream?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I was surprised you hadn't brought that up yet.
I mean, I'm not all that surprised. Like, when the news broke, I wasn't like, oh my God, I didn't see this coming. They had said when I spoke to them, and I'm sure they said it a bunch of other interviews, that they had spoken to Hayden Panettiere before they made the last movie, and, you know, things didn't quite work out. And also, when you put an Easter egg like that in that film, and you know that fans are absolutely rabid for her character, it felt to me inevitable that they were going to bring her back. And especially with the potential of, you know, maybe Sydney and Gale taking a back seat, even if they're like not in the movie entirely, or like, I still don't know what the full situation is there, but yeah. There's great opportunity for Kirby to be a logical force to add into the equation for Scream 6. So it made all the sense in the world, and I am just beyond thrilled that it's fully confirmed now.
I mean, I was stoked the minute that it got teased. So when that Easter egg came out, which is a bloody disgusting report, friend Megan Navarro always laughs about that. Like bloody broke it first because they're the ones on the actual YouTube channel. Like they're the ones there, like actually breaking it. But yeah, so I was very into the idea. I just got my Kirby Live shirt that a friend made, and so like now I have my Kirby Live shirt that I'm going to wear proudly, and I am so this goes along with Hellfest too, because if they ever get around to making another Hellfest, which I don't think they ever will, but like
can I tell you what I did the other day? It's about Hellfest. Okay. So it's connected to the Wilds. I had Rain Edwards on Ladies Night. It actually just went live before we started recording. And of course, like she brought up Hellfest during I didn't even bring it up. She brought it up. Fucking lost my mind. And then I was able to moderate something for the whole cast the other day. And it's like literally the whole cast on a Zoom call. And I'm like, I just need Hellfest too. Like, I love the Wilds. I just need Hellfest too.
But yeah, so anyway, so Bex Taylor Cross, I forget the actress's name, but or the actor's name. And her character has Kirby-isms as well. And their character, I think it is there. I apologize for getting the Hide shit around. But yeah, so their character 100% has the same situation where they are the Kirby of Hellfest and they pseudo die. It's one of those, you think they're dead, but also not. And I just had a tweet like comparing them to, and I'm like, if Kirby lives, they have to live as well. So I really do hope there is some kind of Hellfest sequel someday and we get their return as well, because that would just that would make everything to me.
Bringing that up is making me think, I wonder if there will ever be a nod to the Scream TV series. Like I know it fizzled out. I know things didn't do all that well with that, but I don't know. Just like even some sort of acknowledgement could be a fun little Easter egg at some point.
Bex Taylor Cross. There it is. Cross. I said Cross, not Cross.
They're great. They're a force in everything. I love them in Hellfest, like just totally electric, and crushed it in the Scream TV series. By far one of my favorite characters of the ensemble.
Still have not seen the Scream TV series. I will admit that.
I mean, watch the first 2 seasons. I think that, it's not like the greatest thing in the world, but I think it grew on me and it definitely got me invested in that ensemble of characters. But then when they like wiped the slate clean for no good reason in season 3, I didn't even bother watching those episodes. I still can't believe they did that.
I don't think they can nod in the movie. I think it's one of those things where the show exists outside for a reason, so you can have 2 kind of dual narratives going on, and you can just, you have the television series and you have the movie series. I don't know if I ever see them crossing over.
No, I don't know. I was about to say no, but I take that back.
Well, yeah, I take it back.
I feel like there's clever ways to make a nod without making any of the, the mythology messy.
And we're talking about the Scream series, so literally anything is possible.
Yeah. All right. What else did we have? I liked the Resident Evil trailer. I liked it a lot.
Did you see both of them?
No. What's the second one?
There's a QR code that is flashed very briefly in the trailer that you saw that leads you to a better trailer. I will argue it's a better trailer because it's not one of those like montage trailers that, for those who saw the first Resident Evil trailer for the show on Netflix that's coming out, I'm into it because it looks like a happy medium between something reminiscent to the games, but also acknowledging the Anderson series. And you're going to get something that's original out of it. Like it's not going to be a straight adaptation like Welcome to Raccoon City. It's also not going to be completely deviant from the source material like Anderson's films. So what I'm hoping for is that's right. We have we have a different Wesker this time. We have Lance Reddick playing Wesker, which I'm really into, and everything about what the montage trailer that is the one that was released wide shows is it's a lot of quick cuts of some action, of some holographic teddy bears, the idea that there's the Umbrella facility, but it's also years later, but they don't give a lot of information. So that second trailer, it actually gives you way more into the Joy drug, and it sets up exactly what's happening. So like that's the more narrative trailer. So I go back. Bloody Disgusting actually has both of them on the report. Okay. And so they did the like, hey, did you see this trailer? We found it for you. Yeah. Here it is. And I watched that. And so that's a much better, longer look at a lot of entire beasties in like a whole sequence. You're not just getting a quick cut. You're actually like meeting the lickers again. You're actually meeting the monsters that we know from the series. So I'm a lot more enthusiastic after seeing that second trailer because it gives me the nostalgia that I want from the game and that they're honoring these creatures and monsters and zombies, but also that they're developing a new kind of drug with the T virus. And it's going to be a future kind of set thing where the joy drug is this like cure-all drug, but a symptom could be zombieism because it's a T virus compound. And it's like the marketing meeting. So like it's the marketing person being like, great, we'll just put that on the bottle and we're okay. And then it's like cut to the title. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm into that.
Wow, now I'm excited to go watch that because that first trailer already had me sold. I watched it back to back with the Avatar one, and I'm like, this is how you tease an idea. Like, it really just, I think it showed off some beautiful cinematography and really established the atmosphere real well. I mean, by the time it was over, I didn't want to leave that world. I wanted to see more, and like, that's the point of a teaser.
Yeah, so I'm in on it. Like the Resident Evil kind of properties are always so. I adore them because I'm a fan of the games, but at the same time, watching them, like they've always just been so hit and miss. And I will say that I liked Welcome to Raccoon City enough. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was bad. I enjoyed watching it, but I still don't have that like great Resident Evil adaptation. I have a lot of fun with the Anderson movies. Some of them, not all of them. I'll admit on that. There are 2 in there that I think are absolute dog shit. But like the actual adaptation that we will someday get, I am really excited for that. And I don't know. I just want to see like my full bore, huge budget. We're going to remake Resident Evil on the big screen, but do it exactly like how you remember it and want to see it. I'm still waiting for that. And I know I'm not going to get this from that show, but if that show feels a little void, I'm still into it. That's the thing.
Anything's possible. We've got a super chat. Matthew Robinson is here. Hey guys, I was completely emotionally floored by Benny Safdie's performance in Licorice Pizza. With upcoming roles in the Kenobi series and Oppenheimer, could he become more known as an actor than a director? I would imagine he'll always go strong as both.
Yeah, I think he'll always go strong as both. But like, if you can start getting like, if you're already getting in movies like Oppenheimer and Kenobi, and like shows like Kenobi, like. At what point do you kind of say like, cool, I'm going to stick with acting and keep doing this thing for a little bit? I think he has every chance to continue it down the path of being an actor and staying in that.
I'm so pumped to see both of those things. All right. Have we gone through our whole list? Was there anything I missed?
I don't think so.
That was it. You know what I'm not going to miss today, though? Patreon shout outs. A big thank you goes out to Seth, Steven, Justin. We've got 3 more here. So many of these people are here too. I know Steven's in the house. We have Donovan, Frank, and Dustin. Thank you guys for supporting this YouTube channel and keeping it alive and thriving. It's so greatly appreciated. You want to plug some stuff, Matt? What should people check out that you've been working on?
What have I been working on? I just posted a bunch of reviews this week on IGN, Bloody Disgusting, and some other Paste. I did some reviews. And the easy thing to say is at Donatobomb on Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram. Just follow me. I do a bunch of things like fucking everywhere. So the best thing I can say, it's controlled chaos. And I try to do the best to control it and tell you what I'm doing.
I think you need a business card that says like, I do things for fucking everywhere. Controlled chaos.
Everywhere. I don't know. Whoever pays me the most and whoever lets me write for them. That is who I'm writing for this week.
Oh, all right. Well, I've got one specific place to send you. It is to the Collider Ladies Night episode that just went live on the Collider Extras YouTube channel with Rain Edwards for the Wild Season 2. And the next one coming up in just a couple days now is going to be with Sasha Lane, who is super cool and is in Conversations with Friends. All righty, let's place our bets. I'm going to press end broadcast. How long will we be awkwardly sitting here wondering if we're off?
Go watch
Goodbye,
Jason.
everyone. Have a good week.